and welcome to another episode of the Marco Podcast,
a show dedicated to the realness of organization and entrepreneurship. This space was created for every woman who needs motivation or inspiration to get organized and to keep going after her dream. I'm your host, Angel J. Sit back and prepare for valuable tips, resources, laugh, and much more. If this is your first time here, welcome and thanks for joining. If you've been hanging around for a while, welcome back, and I hope you brought a friend. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode. Today, I am talking with Amy Wilson. Amy is a Board Certified Geriatric Pharmacist, a certified fitness professional, and a certified nutrition coach using the Faster Way to Fat Loss platform, who is disrupting the diet industry and helping her clients take their health back. Amy's mission is to empower and equip her clients to take charge of their health and find balance in their lives. With over 30 years of experience, Amy specializes in developing individualized health plans that navigate through her clients' individual barriers, allowing them to be successful in their efforts. She is passionate about helping people prevent and reverse diseases with nutrition and fitness. Through her personal and professional experience, she has seen firsthand how diet and exercise can change a person's life and how the right nutritional program can be the key to improving their health and fitness. She has seen her clients reverse their pre-diabetes, diabetes, high cholesterol, and more. She is driven to help her clients feel in control of their body and mind while no longer feeling enslaved by their scale. Let's welcome Amy. Hi, Amy. How are you?
Hey, Angel. I am great. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we get started?
No, let's dive in.
All right, then. Well, let's do it. So, Amy, you are a full-time pharmacist and an entrepreneur. So...
Yeah.
How long have you been an entrepreneur? Like, how do the two work together? I mean, tell me everything.
Woo. So I don't think I've ever had just one job. I think since I was 16, I've always worked multiple jobs. And whether it's fitness instructing, personal training, I was a master trainer for a fitness program for several years, group fitness director while I was a pharmacist. So it's always been dabbling and working for other people, right?
Gotcha.
And when I was going through perimenopause, I had coached before doing nutrition coaching. And when I went going through perimenopause and in menopause and having all those lovely symptoms that we get, and every female is probably like, yeah, and even if you're 35 or you're younger, yours probably 35 when you actually start perimenopause. And all of a sudden, the things that I did back in the day stopped working, and I couldn't lose weight at that time. I was getting bigger. I was working out more. I was teaching more classes. I wasn't eating. And it's like you throw your hands up in the air going, why is this just not doing what it should do? And something was wrong. Something wasn't right. And I was watching a couple of friends who are also fitness instructors, and they were looking amazing, and not only looking amazing, but feeling amazing, and their muscle tone and their skin. And they weren't, when you see people lose weight, a lot of times they look sickly skinny, or their hair gets brittle, and so actually I was watching to see if they would fail, meaning that, and they know this. So if they're listening, they know this. But you watch somebody, you're like, oh, okay, they're on this, or they're doing this program. Okay, let's see where they are in 6 weeks. Let's see where they are in 6 months. Let's see where they are in a year. And more than likely what happens is life happens. They gain the weight back. They look worse than they did before. And here they are on the next phase, the next fact. Here the thing was they were not. They were getting better. Their muscle tone was getting better. Their health was amazing. And I'm just like, okay, I got to quit watching and finally do something. So I threw a Hail Mary pass. It's a program called Faster Way to Fat Loss. I had no intention of it working whatsoever, because here, I've been a fitness professional. I'm a pharmacist. I've done other things. Nothing's worked. So why would this work? It freaking worked. I didn't even take my before pictures because I was like, it's not going to work. I'll just do it. And it did. And I'm like, mind blowing. And it was because it was finally putting science together, which I'm a pharmacist. You would think that I would have thought about all this stuff, but we get in our own heads too. We all want that, I'm looking for the bright, shiny new object that's going to get me into my skinny jeans just as much as everybody else is.
Exactly.
And it was mind blowing on, wait, I have to eat. And I haven't been eating. I had to unlearn so many things that the media has told us and that we have grown up with. I mean, ladies, if you're my age, it was fat-free, Snackwells. It's like
Yes.
Susan Powder, Stop the Insanity.
Yes.
Remember
Slim Fast.
Slim Fast,
Wow.
Atkins,
Jenny
Keto,
Craig.
Jenny Craig,
Yes.
Points with Weight. I mean, you could go on and on and on. And it was crazy that all of a sudden I'm eating all this food, no longer starving myself. And I changed the way I worked out. Magic happened. There was 1 month I lost 7 inches from my hips. It was crazy. And here I am almost 4 years later, and I haven't gone backwards. And that's never happened, even as other programs or that kind of thing, because they were diets. It was 6 weeks. You can't starve yourself for 6 weeks and get results and expect that's always going to happen. No, girls got to have a cheeseburger and a cookie sometime,
Yes,
and
please.
right? It's like, or pizza, and you have to go to a party, or life happens, and it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, it's Valentine's Day. Your husband wants to take you out for dinner or whatever, and it's like, I got to live my life. And it's that finding that balance, finding something that finally works. And it's not about just chasing skinny. It's about health. It's about increasing your muscle mass, and it's about actually getting results. And that is kind of like the story of how I found this program. I'm like, you know what? I got to coach it. It's done so much for me. I had coached before and I got out of it because I was burned out. And I'm like, I have to coach this, because I know there's people who are like me. I know there's people who are frustrated, who have tried everything, who don't want to do prescription pills or injections, who don't want to drink shakes all the time, who want to have a cookie, who want to be able to balance everything and want to eat. Girls got to eat.
Yes.
And
yes.
and I knew there were people like me who have been starving themselves and have tried everything and thought there was no hope, and going through perimenopause or menopause and not recognizing who they were in the mirror. That's the worst feeling in the world, when you look in the mirror and the person looking back at you and you have no idea who this person is.
I agree.
It's just so defeating. And I'm like, you know what? I'm on a mission to help women feel successful, to stop feeling defeated, to get their mojo back, to have that feeling of, I won't say invincible, but just that confidence, that glow, that, you know what? I don't have to worry about what's going in my mouth anymore and count this and count that and this points and that, and being so obsessed and feeling so down on myself that it's freeing. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. And I started the Nutrition Coach Pharmacist. That's my business.
Okay.
And I haven't looked back, and I can put my pharmacy in with it. So I am a full-time pharmacist. I'm a geriatric pharmacist, but it's great because I understand disease states. I understand if something's going on with clients, whether it be thyroid or menopause or perimenopause or diabetes or heart conditions. And it's something that I can help work with and help prevent or reverse, and work with their physician. And I do it virtually. So it's COVID's been a great thing, kind of not great, but
Right.
COVID's made COVID's made everything open up to where you just don't have to have a storefront anymore, that you are able to do things through the World Wide Web, through virtual. And I have clients all over the world. And it's kind of a cool thing to see people. Like, I'll give you an example. I have this one client, her name's Amanda, who watched me on Facebook, kind of like I did with somebody else. And she finally reached out and she's like, I don't know if you can help a girl like me. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She's like, I have over 100 pounds to lose. I don't know if I'm somebody that you can even help. And that just broke my heart, to think that you can't get help, and feeling that way, that you don't think that anybody's out there can do anything for you. And I said, absolutely, we can figure this out. It's individual. I'm going to tailor it to you. What can we do? And she signed up with me, and here we are over a year. It's been a year and a half later. She's lost 115 pounds.
Oh, that's awesome.
Numerous inches. And that's not the part that gets me. The part that gets me is she's like, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here for my babies. And just think about that. She's like, she took one of her kids to a college visit, and she's like, they had to keep up with me.
I love it.
And she's like, back in the day, that would not have happened. It would be like, okay, you guys go on without me. I can't make it. I can't go up these steps. I can't walk. And she's like, they had to keep up with me. And she kept saying that. And I had goosebumps. And it's that life-changing, that impact that I can have, not only as a pharmacist, but as a nutrition coach and fitness coach, that is just, it brings me life.
Cool. Well, no, you're very passionate about it, and I can tell that you definitely love it and you enjoy it. And that's really cool that you could combine your full-time job with your part-time job as well and make them work together and kind of have that inner working with it. So
yeah, I think that's when and any entrepreneur, if you really are passionate about it, it just makes it so much easier. It helps with the ups and downs of the entrepreneurship.
Yes,
you're able to get through the downs much easier because you have all these ups.
Oh yes, definitely. So how do you balance being a full-time pharmacist and being a nutrition coach?
I am lucky that I am a consultant. So I am lucky that I pretty much can make my own hours. And so I really start my job as a pharmacist about 6 a.m. in the morning and do a good 8-hour day until about 2 p.m. And then I'm still available to my nursing homes, my facilities. And then I start the coaching side. So whether it's doing podcasts or whether it's meeting with my clients on Zoom or text messaging. So I'm able to balance it. I also had to work on that balance because as an entrepreneur, sometimes it's very hard to shut things off. You're available 24/7. So I had to make a thing that, okay, yes, I'm available 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., meaning that I can probably text you between 8 and 2. If we want to talk, it's after 2. But at 8 p.m., I have a hard stop. And I have do not disturb on my phone, and the phone goes away. And they know that if they need me, that I will answer them in the morning. And I haven't had a problem with that. I really thought, I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to be like, oh my God, I need you now. And it's been really good because I set that expectation up to begin with. It's like, okay, at 8 p.m., it's nighttime for me. And I put the phone down. And I expect that for them too, because that's part of the nutrition and you need sleep. So put the damn phone down.
Yes, exactly. And like you said, it's so hard because that was something that I had to learn too, is that you can't always be available and it's 10, 11 o'clock and you're texting me or you're sending me an email or something like that, and it's like, no, I'm not responding back to that. And at first I was like, oh, I need to respond, and I was just like, this is draining, like I'm not doing it. And so I started, like you said, on Sundays I don't do anything on Sundays. Saturdays I was kind of like taking a little bit of a break, but I do record occasionally on Saturdays. But usually I try to do things like during the week, once I get off of work, like that's my time to do stuff, because you have to set those boundaries or you'll get burnt out and it'll take a toll on you.
And then when you get burned out or if it's late at night, I'm not good at thinking at certain times of the night. And then I'm like, I responded to something and then I'll read it going, oh, I really shouldn't have responded that way.
Right. Or that is not how you spell that.
Yeah. Thanks, autocorrect. Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to be fresh. And I think sometimes people are like, but I'll lose a client, or if they really want to work with you, they're going to work with you. And if somebody's like, well, you're not answering me now, then maybe they're not the right client that I want to work with at that time. I am all for my clients and I help them succeed. And that is my biggest win, to help them succeed. But it has to go both ways. There has to be respect for me, for the client, and respect for me as their coach.
Right. I agree with that. And like you said, I thought that too. I was like, oh, well, I'm going to lose a client, or people aren't going to work with me because I didn't respond to them immediately, or, somebody sent me an email, I didn't immediately respond. And I had to get over that. If it's the person or the client for you, then it'll work out.
Yeah, it will.
It'll work out. So how do you...
I not only talk the talk, I walk the walk. So I do my program. I live, eat, and breathe it. But it's also about balance with the program. We don't work out for 3-4 hours a day. It's 30 minutes. And understanding that, yeah, I had to take time out for me too. Just like everybody else and my clients, I tell them you have to schedule things. So I schedule my workouts every day. I have a certain time that I get my workouts done. I'll take conference calls and I'll walk. So I'm moving my body. And the biggest thing, whether it's as a pharmacist, as a nutrition coach, or actually doing nutrition, is planning. We have got to plan. Flying by the seat of your pants, hanging 10, just doing it as it comes, or figuring out, we all know that doesn't work very well. And yeah, and so planning is our friend to keep us organized. And not only that, it saves time, because if you're always flying by the seat of the pants, you waste so much time trying to figure everything out. Will it always be check this box, check this box, check this box? No, but I got something that I'm going to be able to do. And I have my checkbox of things that absolutely have to get done. And it does make things much smoother.
So, okay. So planning, that's definitely something that, can help with being healthy while you're in business. Are there any other tips that you can share about things that people can kind of do to try to maintain their health while trying to run a business and do all of the other things?
So planning, and I always, I'll give you some health tips. One, get rid of the ultra processed food. It's not doing you any bit of good. So if you're running on Starbucks, if you're running on McDonald's, that kind of thing, that is not helping you whatsoever. And just as, you want clients, or you think clients should hire you for whatever you do, you need a coach. I have coaches. I was just on a call with somebody else that someone's going to help me with a process that I need. And don't be afraid, even though we're coaches or you're an entrepreneur and you think you should have all the answers, we don't. And it's okay for us to admit that. And it's okay for us to go get help. And that will just make you a better entrepreneur, a better business owner.
I agree with that. And I said this before, like how they say, the therapist needs a therapist. Well, with me, sometimes I'm like, well, the organizer needs an organizer, because I just, I can't do it right now. So definitely a coach needs a coach, because when you have that extra outside person, like, of course, obviously, you do fitness. So yeah, you could definitely coach yourself in fitness. But sometimes you need that extra motivation. You need that outside motivation to tell you to keep going. You need that check-in with somebody else other than yourself to keep yourself going. And so, like you said, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. But as women, and then especially as business owners, we're programmed to think that you can't ask for help. Like it's a man's world. Like you got to figure it out by yourself. You can't ask for help. Asking for help is a sign of weakness. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is saying that, hey, I need this done. I don't know how to do it, or I can't do it on my own. Like, please help me. And that takes courage to be able to ask for help. So I don't believe that asking for help is a sign of weakness. I actually think that it shows a lot of strength and a lot of courage to put yourself out there and to make yourself vulnerable, especially when people are telling you that you shouldn't ask for help. You should just do it on your own.
Yeah. And sometimes I always call it analysis paralysis, whether it's with nutrition and going on Google and trying to figure everything out. Maybe there's something in your business. You're just like, I just can't do this. I don't know how to do funnels. I don't know how to do this. Or maybe it's, you want to get healthy and you don't think you can do it because you're a busy entrepreneur. No matter what, there's somebody out there who can help you, and understand that they want to help you. And if it's somebody who wants to see you fail, then you don't need them in your life anyway. So
not at all.
Yeah, if you have a backstabbing friend who's like, oh, I can help you, but then they're there to make sure that you trip, those are the people you need to get away with. Just say bye, and surround yourself with an amazing tribe and people who want to lift you up.
I so agree with that. And people are busy, everybody's busy, but I also look at it like this: like, if you're really supposed to be my friend, or you're really you're really supposed to help me, then you're gonna find time to help me. Like, people find time for what they want to find time for, and for what they want to do. And if somebody keeps telling you that, oh, I'll help you, and then when it comes down to it, they're never available, or they half-heartedly do what it is that they're supposed to help you with, or like you said, they set you up to trip, then that's not somebody that you need in your circle. Like that person is not, they're not there for you, whether it's intentional or whether it's unintentional, but that's not the person that you need in your inner workings.
And the same thing goes to ourselves. If it's important to us, we will find a way. And if it's not, then be honest with yourself. Like I'll get that with nutrition. Someone's like, well, I want to do this and this and this, but XYZ, and they have one foot out the door. Then it's not important to you right now. You're coming up with the excuses of why you are going to fail.
Right.
And I have this conversation with other coaches or entrepreneurs. It's like, well, I really want to do this much money, but I have this. Well, you're already talking yourself out of why you're not going to be successful.
Right. Talk yourself into it. Say, I want to do this, and this is how I think it can happen. But these are the areas that I'm struggling in and that I need help with to get it done.
Yeah.
Yes. Because what you speak, that becomes your reality. So you have to speak positivity and speak life into things. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Amy, let's talk about Ozempic. It's the latest craze out here. It is the latest craze. And I will say that, so I have diabetes. I have type 2 diabetes. And so my doctor had given me Ozempic like maybe 2 years ago or something to try to help me manage it. And I think I took it like one time. I did the injection one time and I felt so sick and so horrible after my arm. Was that because she tried 2 injectables with me? She tried Ozempic and I think Ribellus. One went in the arm, and I think Ozempic went in the arm. And I felt so sick afterwards. Like my arm hurt. I couldn't move my arm. I had like this big knot on my arm. And I was like, there is no way that I am doing this every week. I told her, I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. So what are your thoughts, your feelings on this? I see the look on your face and you're like,
Okay, so let me preface this first by saying I'm a pharmacist who prefers people not on medication at all possible.
I love it.
Ozempic does have a purpose, and there are some people who absolutely need it in order to survive. Let's be honest. It's their diabetes is really, really severe, and they absolutely need to be on it to get into not even a healthy state, but just get closer to a healthy state. My issue with Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, some of the other ones that are coming up, they're called a GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1. It works it's a hormone in your gut. That's how it works. Is that it's being used as a boutique diet drug.
Yep. I know some people that are using it as exactly that.
And I get it. I'd say this all the time. We want an easy button. We want everything done in Amazon Prime Time. We see it on Instagram. We see this, or we see somebody like, oh my gosh, they just dropped all this weight. Know that it's a treatment, not a cure. And that skinny doesn't equal health. Let me repeat that. Skinny doesn't equal health. And I know as women, as entrepreneurs, we put ourselves out there and we are so afraid of what people are going to say about us. Do I look good enough? Do I look like I know what I'm doing? Do I look old? Do I look fat? Do I look this? And you think that maybe that's one less thing you have to worry about is, well, I'll just take Mounjaro, Ozempic, or Wegovy, and that is going to miraculously help me lose the weight. Okay, it helps you lose weight. It does. It's not helping you lose weight the way that you need to. And as women getting older, we need to keep our muscle. And unfortunately, most boutique places aren't going to set you up with somebody and say, hey, go find yourself a nutrition coach who's going to help you make sure that you're eating enough and is going to make sure that you are keeping your muscle and building your muscle. No, here's the injection. Oh, I'm not hungry. I'm not going to eat. Oh, I get nauseated. My stomach is, I'm just not hungry. So of course you're going to lose weight. Of course. But the problem is you're losing mostly muscle. You're losing a little bit of fat, but you're losing mostly muscle. When that happens, you are actually going to lose bone mass and lose even more muscle because your body is trying to figure out how is it going to survive because you're not fueling it with anything. It's got to get its minerals from somewhere, your bones. It's got to get the amino acids from somewhere, your muscles. Fat is the last thing that your body will take. It's unfortunately, that's just the way it is. It's science, right? It's like, why is this the case? So now you slowed your metabolism down. And what I am really worried about is what we're going to start seeing in 5 years. And the reason I'm worried about that is because in the nursing homes, I have a lot of younger residents because of certain disease states. But a lot of my older residents are in there because of hip fractures, falls, and frailty. And when you think about frail, you think of somebody who's old and they're shuffling and they are hunched over and their skin is sagging and they're wrinkly and maybe they can't sit down or it takes them a long time to get up. That's frailty. If you don't have muscle mass, if you're using the minerals out of your bones, where do you think you're going to be in 5 years? And then the other thing, it slows down how your gastric emptying. It slows that whole process down. Well, what happens with all the toxins that are just staying in your system? Are we going to see increased colon cancer? Are we going to see other increased cancer? So yes, you're going to see all these things. Oh, it helps with cardiac markers. It helps with cardiac disease. Yeah, it does. But if we're replacing one disease for another disease, that's crazy. And I understand. And I'll get people like, I've tried everything. I'm like, oh, but you haven't really tried everything. You've tried every quick fix out there. You tried every shake. You tried everything that was supposed to work, whether it was Weight Watchers, like we said, Atkins, keto.
Right.
But have you really tried to focus on doing something for your health, not just losing weight, because that will come if you actually focus on fueling your body and adding muscle and preserving muscle. You're going to do a lot of positive things just by fueling your body, preserving muscle, and adding muscle. And you would be surprised at how quickly your body can change and how quickly you can get the body that you want out those injections. Is it slow? Yeah, it's slower than Mounjaro and Wegovy and Ozempic. It is slower. It's a slower process, but you don't have those side effects. And to me, that's more important. And I get it, because I'll see people like, dang. And then I remind myself, it's like, no, but I want to look in the mirror and see my future myself in 20 years, look back at me and say, you know, girl, you did everything right. So here you are in your 70s and 80s, and I'm still thriving, not able to live my life because of chasing skinny, of wanting that quick fix instead of focusing on health.
Right. You're making a lifestyle change. And like you said, it's a quick fix. So you're not changing your habits. You're fixing this, and you're putting a Band-Aid on the situation, and you're not really dealing with it. And then you have this quick fix. Okay, great. You got your skinny. Well, what's going to happen when you stop taking the medication? Mm-hmm. What's going to happen when you decide that, okay, I am hungry? Those old habits are going to come back because you didn't change anything. The only thing that you changed was your dress size. That's it. And introducing something into your body that didn't need to be there. So
you didn't change your behaviors. You didn't change your thought process. And I was talking to somebody a couple of weeks ago, and she said that she has a client who wanted help to get off of the Ozempic, had lost 30 pounds and couldn't get off the couch, exhausted, weak, but she didn't want to get off the Ozempic because she was afraid of gaining it all back. And I'm like, that's a psychological dependence too. And that to me right there shows how much weight that we think skinny equals happiness. And it should be, hey, I'm able to lift this luggage above and put it in the overhead bin without a problem. Hey, I can take all my groceries out of my car in one trip. Right. I can lift my kids, my grandkids. I can run. I can do all this kind of stuff. I have so much energy. I don't need a nap at 2:00. I look amazing in this dress because my booty's lifted. Right. You know, those kind of things. I'm not sagging. I don't have the wrinkles. I don't have sagging skin or looking like I'm melting.
Exactly. I look like a person. Right.
Yeah. And I think we lose sight of that because we want that skinny so bad that we lose sight of the health and understanding that the health is the way to go.
I agree. Yes. Make healthy lifestyle changes, not just quick fixes. So yeah. Well, Amy, I have enjoyed talking about like health and pharmacy and how you've gotten all into it.
So that is all for part one of this episode. Amy will be back. Well, we'll be back next week with part two of Balancing Health and Business with Amy Wilson. In the meantime, if you would like to connect with Amy, you can head over to her website, amykwilson.com, and that will be linked in the show notes. And we'll talk to you all next week. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Modco podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and learned something from it. Be sure to share this episode with a friend, family member, colleague, or anyone you think will enjoy it. Make sure you hit the follow or subscribe button. And if you love the podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcasting app. That helps others to find us and gets us listed in other show recommendations. So you all know that I run on coffee, and so does the show. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by clicking on the link in the show notes. Thank you so much, and chat soon.